happy to be back with you guys. You know, I was very sick. I had a very bad flu for about 2.5 weeks. You know, I couldn't get to put up another podcast, but here I am with another podcast. I'm basically talking about starting out a hardware with $100,000. So 100,000 Jamaican dollars, you understand? Because a lot of people keep asking me the question how much money them needs to start with a hardware. So me basically I gonna give you guys like a breakdown. If me not cover everything, reach out to me in the DM. If you like the content that I'm putting out, I'm gonna ask you guys to share the content, like and leave your comments and stuff like that. All right, pretty much $100,000 can give you a start in pretty much any business, any basic business there is in Jamaica. So a lot of people had asked me from the last time about how much money they're actually looking at to start out the hardware. Let's say you're a very young person, you know, have a whole heap of money and have millions of dollars liquid cash right away. And you can find yourself with $100,000. You through a partner, you can find yourself with $100,000. And I'm going to basically give you guys the breakdown of how to start the hardware with $100,000. So let's say you don't have a location and you're pretty much doing it from your front yard or your yard space or anything. You set up a nice little area, you put up some signs and you make the people them close by kind of know say you're a community hardware. So we're basically gonna be starting with the most basic things, like we're looking at like nails, we're looking at like screws, we're looking at like the little items that people basically need on the site to put up like little decking. You know, you're doing a little Sunday project at your home. The small items that you basically need, but don't get it twisted. A lot of people don't understand this. The smaller items in the hardware are actually the more expensive items. But seeing that you're just starting out, you're now going to start out with sand, gravel, black steel, 2 before zinc. A lot of people, when they think about hardware, they only think along that line. But when you talk about hardware, the inventory for hardware is very big. So you can basically go around and you can observe in your community and you realize that, okay, Mr. John next door, they're going to be putting up a decking. You want to see what within that project you can basically facilitate them at competitive price. So you know, so you can't facilitate them with the plyboard, and you know you can't facilitate them with the 1x3 and the 2x4, but you might can facilitate them with some 2.5 inch wire nail, and you can, you know, facilitate them with some 2.5 inch concrete nail, and probably them are gonna need some concrete screw, some blue concrete screw. You can probably facilitate them with some concrete screw. And you know, say okay, your neighbor next door might put up a cube, and you know, say okay, then probably gonna need some stapler, and you can facilitate them with the stapler. You may not be in the position right now to facilitate them with zinc, but you can facilitate them with the mesh. So when you're looking along the line of $100,000 to start your hardware, you pretty much have to look along the line of that, getting like the small items, the small needed items. You know, say next door, John next door pretty much have like a chicken coop and stuff like that, and you know the different items that they need for the chicken coop. I'm not talking about the big item. Remember, you know, you're using $100,000 and you're trying to flip the product, flip the money, so you can basically multiply that money. So you want to turn that $100,000 into $200,000 as it regards to inventory in the hardware. So you can buy 2 hammer, you can buy a dozen hacksaw blade, you can buy the hacksaw itself, you can buy file, you can buy some shovel and stuff. You can buy like a 3 shovel, you can buy like a 3 pliers, you can buy like 3 Phillips screwdriver, 3 flat screwdriver. And this is pretty much how you start off your hardware with a basic budget of $100,000. So if you have more questions for me, guys, you can reach out to me. A lot of people want to know where you can get these items. Reach out to me personally, and I'm asking you guys to go over to my YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube page. And if you like the content, you also share the content as well, all right?